Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Us and My Life. Love you and cause I love you so much. Oh, 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 I just love you. I just like help. I just like help. I just like you too. I just like you. I just love you. Happy New Year. I love you. Say goodbye. You're going to school, and that's okay. Yum, 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 yum. I just love you.
Boy, I sure like to start out our Optimize Your Life radio show every Tuesday with our singing a song from Ariana Stanley from Minnesota. She's a daughter of Mary Stanley, who is one of the board members of the Hope Collection. But Ariana has such a special heart, and she just loves to sing, and she loves to play, and she's just a wonderful little girl. She's got a great little brother. We call them a dynamic duo, and they are just incredible kids. And we're so lucky to have Mary, who handles our communications programming for the Hope Collection and Optimize Your Life. So I'd like to welcome everybody here today that is joining us. I know there are more people will be coming on board here as we get started. My name is Ron Clayton, and I'm the president of the Hope Collection, and I've been leading it since the founder of the organization over 10 years ago, Dr. Joel Griffin and his wife. Joel went to be with the Lord, but we're carrying on his mission, his passion, his love of being able to help and make this a better world, and we're committed to doing that. So on Tuesdays, this show is traditionally known as Travel Tuesday. What do I mean by that? Well, just take a second, and anybody that might be listening in this, we operate in 95 platforms around the world in 95 countries. If you're listening in, you hear this, when you stop to think about travel, what do you think about? What comes to mind? And as you're thinking that, I would like to share with you a thought that is going to kind of lead us on this show today. As you're thinking about travel and what to happen, what it does in your mind, I guarantee it. I know it. I'm not a psychologist, but there's something that I do know from education and experience. When you put your mind on dreaming about travel, your brain turns into a creative operator. It starts creating waves of thoughts. That destination, that point that you came to mind, might be someplace you've never been. It may be a place you want to go. But the bottom line is when it changes your mind, it forces your body to start thinking. And if you stay thinking at it enough and you have a tool to complete the job to go there, guess what will happen? It's called a dream fulfillment. I have the privilege of introducing you to somebody on the show today that I was so blessed to be able to be introduced to. You know, it's funny. In life, you've heard people saying common, sometimes they even say with a sneer, it's who you know. Well, I want to tell you something, folks. It is who you know. Because if you know somebody who knows something that you don't know, and they know how to do something, and they have a tool to get it done, my recommendation to you is to shut up and listen to them. So what I'm going to ask you, Ron, so you don't have to be like, in my case, I said, shut up, Ron, and listen to this man, because my buddy, my mentor, my best friend and business partner said, listen to this guy. And so he introduced me to Rick Reese, who's sitting here on the call right now with us. Hello, Rick. Good morning.
Good morning in my Boston accent. Good to be on the show, Ron.
Well, so happy to have you here. When we have this opportunity, as we do on this platform every Tuesday, when we get to chat about not only what's on our heart, but recognizing that we are and we can help and change people's lives. And first it came with a recognition, and a simple one. It's pretty cool. I'll say on the big picture, you understand that God created this world. I read a book that says in the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word became God. The Word was God and was God and is God. And that he created this world. That, number one, boy, that's something great. You go to Niagara Falls, one of the wonders of the world. I know you've been there, Rick. You go to overseas in the oceans, and you go to different countries of the world. You see different beauty. You see people. You see people who have beautiful hearts that just stand out. The experience of those things puts you in a mind of recognizing and appreciation for who we are, what we're doing. And then you take that to the next level that we're all commanded to be productive. And what do? We find ways of being productive. And in our country, actually, I guess now we can say in the world, at least the Western Hemisphere, we got that nailed down. And maybe you can share some of that with us today, Rick. I appreciate that. But I really want everybody to know this guy is a pioneer. He's a leader. He is someone who helped. He doesn't really know it. It hasn't sunk into him yet, I don't think. But he has helped save more marriages. Now, let me explain to you. This is scientific. This is not arbitrary in my opinion. Several years ago, a couple decades ago, the government, the Air Force, decided to put satellites up in space. The scientists created the Internet. And they had to put satellites so that, the world is round, so you can't just put a signal up into the air to get it. They put satellites so the beams, the information that can bounce off one and bounce the other and go right around the world and cover the whole world and get information around the world. And some of the information that they did, that's called GPS. You have one of those on your phone or in your car. And what you do, you go on the map and you look where you are and you put the address you want to go, and guess what? You don't have to worry about getting yelled at by your wife because you won't stop in the grocery store, the convenience store, gas station to get directions. And therefore, there aren't as many fights, and people will get to places on time, and you make life so much better. You have, without any question, there's no doubt in my mind, that one of the things that will be part of your known now as history, they're writing you up in Who's Who in America. I'm the guy that saved all the marriages. So, Rick, take it away.
Yeah, man. It's funny because when we actually launched the GPS satellite, first Block 2 GPS satellite, and of course I, wasn't by myself. I was part of the Air Force crew, mission control crew, to launch that satellite. And it's amazing because we were stationed in Colorado, but we launched it from Florida. And we launched the satellite, and with, of course, the tracking radars, we were able to track it from Colorado Springs as it went into orbit and orbited the Earth and tracked it around the world to deploy the wings, the satellite, the rays to acquire the sun. And little did we know it would turn into what we have today. And that's why it's so important to be in the right place at the right time when you're supposed to be there. Because it's all about timing and positioning in life. And that's what makes history. When a person says, for whatever reason, yes, and they're willing to be that explorer and to have that attitude of exploration, of discovery, of courage, no fear, to be able to step into the unknown and to just make a decision once you get there, the best next decision, and you'll find that you become a world changer and a history maker. And so little did we know that would be history. And then when the Korean airliner was shot down by the Russians, and President Ronald Reagan realized that prior to that, we were basically holding the GPS signal. And we could have given it to everyone, but we were using it primarily for military application. But when that Korean airliner wandered into Russian airspace and they shot it down, we said, okay, no, we need to open this signal and make it available to the world for free. Can you imagine that? And of course, the car manufacturers, everybody else, for the garments, for hiking. Every other company said, hey, we can capitalize on this. And now you look at it, and of course, before that, then we were using the Atlas. Remember those Atlas books where you had the map, you know, but you turn the page and the city map was like microprint. Like, where am I at? What's going on? That's when we said, no, we're not going to stop, honey. You know, I know it's just around the corner. And we drive for miles and
GPS
miles
is
and miles.
exact. Is it, Rick? GPS is exact. Am I correct? In other
And
words,
then when
you
GPS came out, and I'm like, you know what? This signal tells you to take the next turn. And course corrections are in there. And then it's like how you're going too fast for the speed limit. There's a restaurant, there's a gas station up the road. And it's like, where is this information coming from? All this detailed information. And it lets you know Big Brother is watching you. And so now, of course, no one navigates except through the GPS signal, you know. And it is so convenient. It is so convenient. We were up in Canada when we actually opened Canada to the Legacy Travel Company. We were in Canada, and it was our grand opening for Canada. And so I'm riding around Canada using my GPS. And I'm like, wow. And it's like, man, this thing is global. But it didn't hit me that it's global, you know, until I was up in Canada. And I'm using my GPS, and it's got the streets and everything, turn here, turn there, and we get to the convention center, and I'm like, man, this is huge. But it's all about positioning, understanding the times, and being in the right position with the right timing. And that's what it was when I came into the travel business. And by the way, that's what it is right now, you know, following COVID. Crisis always creates opportunity. You know, back in the 1900s, when they had the Spanish flu outbreak, you know, in 1920s kicked off, millionaires were created. You know, it kicked off years of prosperity, and before the crash, you know, but years of prosperity. You know, crisis creates opportunity, and so fast forward, you know, to now following COVID, 9 billion people were locked down. And guess what they want to do now? They want to travel. And the travel industry is really just growing, but it's $11.1 trillion and growing globally. But you can't tap into it unless you have a tool that allows you to tap into it. Now, one of the things that was interesting, a couple of days ago, I said, wow, you know, Surge, this is what Surge is, and it really hit me in a kind of a new way, Ron. Surge is a go-between between the travel vendors globally who are trying to move their travel services to market. And they're using retail, they're using online, they're using travel agents, you know, to get their product to market. And here comes Surge 365 that says, hey, I will provide, you know, the go-between between the travel vendors and independent contractors, whom we are, independent contractors. And like we say, and like Joel would say, we're not in Surge. We're independent contractors to Surge. And Surge makes available to us access to the travel vendors who are moving their travel services to market. And so here we are now, we're building teams to move travel services, to move travel product. And so Surge pays us to build these teams to move travel services and products to market, primarily not selling, but sharing with friends and families and acquaintances and neighbors, you know, not selling necessarily to unknown strangers, but just in our little circle. But as we build these teams, it moves a little bit of product that, of course, aggregates into a huge thing. And so Surge incentivizes us. They incentivize us to build these teams of friends and family using network marketing, the most efficient form of marketing, because now it's friends and family. But they incentivize us to share and to sponsor people into the business with commissions, weekly, monthly commissions, $1,000 bonuses, $10,000 bonuses. An executive leadership program with our directors where they buy the toys for us. And so they're incentivizing us to build these huge teams. It's an inverted triangle. It's not a pyramid. It's an inverted triangle where we're at the bottom and there's room at the top. But we're independent contractors. And then, not only in building teams, they provide us the ability to use the travel services ourselves. And so we have the Vortex, which is an online consumer booking engine. We can move aside Expedia, move aside Priceline, and Surge has given us access to the online booking market. And I can give out this Vortex to the world, and they can book through that Vortex. And the most interesting thing is, see, people don't realize how ingenious this is. When someone gets that free complimentary Vortex link and they book that hotel, Expedia and Priceline, they set the public price, right? And so they work with the hotels. That public price is the same. And when they book that hotel through the Vortex, it goes out and it looks at that public set price and comes in up to 60% less than that public price. So that person with this free link is saving money. Now get this. They pay me, Vortex pays me 100% of whatever they save, and it's self-booking. The customer books, right? And if they save $100, I make $100. They save $50, I make $50. They save 50 cents, I make 50 cents. I don't have to manage it. But we're talking about moving travel services now to the market through the Vortex. And then we have the membership, the Wholesale Travel Club membership. Now, this is how I travel. And so Surge gives us access to these travel services where we can either sell them retail or use them wholesale. So my wife and I, we book through the membership with concierge service, and we say we buy wholesale travel, but we're helping the industry move product. And then through Surge, we're talking about the umbrella of travel products that Surge provides to give us access to the industry to move travel services on behalf of the vendors and get paid for it. So we have a travel agency. And so now the travel industry is saying, hey, we need people to book these trips. We have the industry, we have training, we have all of these services. You couldn't access it unless you're in Surge or with the travel agency. But through Surge and Travemanity, we now access the travel agency side. So we can set up vacation packages on behalf of the vendors. We can take the industry training. So if I want to be a specialist, Alaska specialist, if I want to be a Disney specialist, right? If I want to be any kind of specialist, the whole industry training, special needs travel specialist. This is vocational training in what used to be a closed industry. And now I have full access because of Surge 365. And so whatever is a career in hospitality and tourism, a person can specialize. There's a lot of money to be made in becoming a travel advisor and booking travel and groups and all those kinds of things. But we have access now to the travel industry through a travel agency, Travemanity, which is working with Surge 365. And so one of the things that I've been realizing, this is nothing more than Surge being a go-between, a broker, if you will, that connects the travel vendors in the industry and helping them move their travel services to these 9 billion people wanting to travel now, and we get paid. Isn't that something?
Rick, can I ask a question? Surge has done millions and millions, and the way they put it is they have saved our customers millions and millions of dollars. Am I correct?
Yes. Oh, absolutely, through the membership, wholesale travel.
we
millions.
We position ourselves. It's kind of a neat thing, Rick. I was sitting here, and Lynn and I, we've been married a couple of years, and we had these dreams of doing some things. One dream that when we met, before we met, we wanted to go to Europe. She wanted to go to England. And before we met, and I promised her that to marry me. I bribed her, That's called, it was a bribe. Anyways, she bought it. And she's glad she did. 50 years later, we've been traveling the world. But at the point, later in our life, we still wanted to travel. We hadn't gotten places we wanted to go. And all of a sudden, because of an introduction that I covet, in a good way, that Joel Griffin said to me, Ron, you ought to listen, and you ought to get a hold of Rick Reed and listen to him and do what he says, because it'll be good for you. Now, I didn't know exactly. He didn't tell me it was travel business. I didn't know. But I knew Joel Griffin. I knew his credibility, his integrity, his love of the Lord, his walk in his life. I've seen his family, grew up with his daughter and his son and all those things. So when he said to me, listen to you, gosh, made real good sense to me. So what we did, we were sitting there, had no idea that other than somehow saving enough money or borrowing, usually it was borrowing money, and we wanted to go to another town to go to, we'd go to Toronto. It's 100 miles away from us. We'd go to Toronto, and, we'd have to book the hotel and pay for it, and that's what you did. Get on the phone, or later it was the internet, but we'd always book, do that. And then they taught us to book through the internet. General marketplace. Well, then you introduced us to Surge. You introduced us to, and it kind of, in my mind, what I recall was that you opened the world, our vision to that there's a big expanse and there's a tool to get the job done. I've used the story. Most people know it's kind of my trademark. Anybody can borrow it. But I talk about how Mom used to go and slice up tomatoes. And I loved fresh tomatoes out of the garden. We'd grow them on our plant on the porch or in our garden back home as a kid, and she'd slice them up. She never used a butter knife because the butter knife was a bad tool to cut a tomato. Well, a job is a bad tool to make money to live by. Well, I got a Gibson knife in making money, and it's called Surge 365. So here I was just standing there minding my own business, and deciding that if there was a way for me to get accomplished both things we wanted to do that we knew about right now, but as we knew about more of the world, we got to see there's more to see, and there's more to experience. And gosh, I never dreamed. I sat in the front row of a church one Sunday, and a pastor said to me, someday you'll be part of a mission trip going to the world and touching people's lives. And I sat there with my arms crossed, and I just remember as a kid, and anybody talked about becoming a missionary, I thought of somebody being in sandals and a robe and being in Africa. That wasn't my dream, okay? So I kind of didn't have a good idea of that. Well, years later, when I did become involved in the travel business, and I developed some of those skills through the Travel Agent University and the help of Surge, and you and Brenda, I learned I was able to help get mission teams from churches into Guatemala, and South America, and Africa. I even got a team going to Cuba. I mean, it's Cuba, and bring and go back not as tourists, they were there missionaries. So that's what the travel industry has done for me in my life. As anybody that's on this call, I'd like you to understand that you can really touch people's lives. Now, that's on a big scale, I would think. We've traveled some of the neatest places. We've danced in the moonlight. We love to do that at parties and different resorts, and Cancun and Cozumel and Jamaica. And, we've been places. So that's all because of this relationship and what this tool, the Gibson knife, Surge, does for an individual. I share this until someone tells me I can't share it. I'm going to tell you that I know that I can help somebody because I've done it. They wanted to need money for their rent this month. And it was a while ago, but I helped this person that didn't have a way to get the money to pay her rent. Oh, and this person didn't own a car. But you know what? 30 days later, she had a check to pay her rent. Now, we can go from the big, broad things that people think, well, that's going to take forever to do, which it didn't, by the way. Rick, what happened to us when you went looking for Linda and I right after we met?
I'm like, okay, Ron, where are you? You just came into business. You're over in London and with the Netherlands, and you're on like cruises. You're at Anne Frank's home and eating chocolates, and in Germany. And I'm like, where'd they go? But Rondo, you had a vision, and when a person has a vision, and you can match that vision with the tool to help you accomplish it, the wise person, executes. And basically, you and Linda, when you, I was like, you snatched Serge from me and said, "Hey, give me that." Next thing I know, you're over in Europe.
Well, you know what, Rick? I found out on the Viking River cruises,
Who
you
does
can
that?
have Rick. This river cruise, I had cream of wheat every morning for breakfast, and they made it for me fresh. I didn't have to cook
But you know what, though, Ron? Check this out.
What?
You guys have been dreaming and envisioning with Viking River Cruise before you got Serge. I really believe in the law of attraction. And because the things you think about, you bring about. And you actually called us forth. You may not realize it, but you actually connected us. I didn't connect. Joel didn't connect. You connected us based on the vision that you have for your future. And when a person can lock down the vision, all the experiences that they experience, the people that they meet, are all part of that draw. And so you are actually the one that called forth the tools that were necessary to take you to the next level based on your vision. And that's what a lot of people miss, that they're controlling it. That's why without a vision, people perish. And without courage to pursue the vision, people perish. They stay in the same place. They never advance in life. And the difference between us, and we're just talking travel today, but there's many other areas, of course. But the difference between us is, you have been calling forth things in the vision. I mean, you had already thought about Havana, as a Gideon, and getting Bibles to places that don't have Bibles. I'm also a fellow Gideon.
Yes.
And so when a person can actually understand that what they think about, they bring about, now they're calling things forth. My success in the travel industry is a result of my vision. It's not something that I of course I've got talents and skills and all that, but the vision and God answering the call of my vision to bring the things that are necessary. People don't make the decision to move, and seeing that's where they actually mess up. Why are they paralyzed? Well, it may be fear, it may be this, so it may be personal, it may be family, it may be friend, for whatever reason, they don't move, they don't make moves. And when you're talking about an opportunity, hear me well, when you're talking about an opportunity-rich environment, a free enterprise that we have. So when I went down, I didn't tell you the story, but a couple of weeks ago, we just got back from Cancun this past Sunday, Thursday to Sunday this past. And so, Ron, about a week before that, if not less, Brenda and I sitting at home, minding our own business, get an email from Serge Leadership. And the email basically says, hey, you guys are founders of Serge. We're bringing directors and founders to the international launch of Latin America and other countries. And if you would like to come, we'll cover the expenses. You just have to pay for your flights and transfer. And we're just sitting home, minding our own business. And this is 5-star, all-inclusive, breathless soul in Cancun. And so Brent and I look at each other and say, this is an unexpected vacation. What do you think? And it was like an offer you could. It was an offer you really couldn't refuse it. I mean, hey. over
Someone's got to do
$3,000+, that they cover at the expense, and we just get your airline tickets and transfer from the airport to the resort, and but we went, and it was an international convention, and it was the most interesting thing is they had people there as we opened other countries, Mexico and Guatemala and Colombia, Brazil, all the different countries, South America, Latin America, and then we had a chance to talk to them. And the most interesting thing is how people from other countries see us as Americans, and they see our prosperity, and they see the things that we do. And we had a chance to talk to them, and I let people try on my ring. I've got, from earning $500,000 in a year or whatever, I've got a ring that, and they were trying it on and taking pictures in it, Ron. And we miss and don't understand the position that we have as Americans. That's why a lot of foreigners will come to America and say, hey, this is a great place to be an entrepreneur. And we have been spoiled as Americans, and we don't get that. So when I'm talking to these folks, and the biggest push for this whole convention was to bring these leaders from other countries to talk to us and to give them a sense of belief that all things are possible and a sense of hope. And one of the things in talking to many of them, they don't mind network marketing and people working together, to accomplish something. And when they look at the compensation plan and the thousands of dollars that are possible, as you build an organization that moves travel services, they are loving that. And I was talking to one guy, he says, Rick, we have no hope, and in fact, he worked in Cancun, and he was giving us a ride back to the airport, and we just got into a conversation. He says, Rick, we have no hope. He says, right now I'm working 2 jobs, and I actually live a ways away from Cancun, but I'm renting a house, an apartment, and I'm working 2 jobs just to make things, meet. I got my mom, and she's ill, and I'm trying to take care of her, and there's no hope for advancement. And I'm just listening to him. And so we mentioned the business. He said, oh, man, I'd love to. And there were people at the convention that live in Cancun that are in Surge. I said, I'll connect you to them. But when you go outside the United States and you look at the opportunity, the international opportunity of Surge 365, tapping into this global travel industry, and with a tool, you're withholding something. Even with Americans, I said, well, I can't really withhold this. I will offer it to them to give them an opportunity. Now, whether they take it or not, it's on them. But all these folks that flew in, and so there's one lady that just came on board into Surge. She's from Brazil, but she lives in the United States, in Atlanta. And she says, Rick, I would love to be in this business. She's actually coming on board today after this call. And she says, is there anyone else in Brazil? I said, no, you are the beginning. You are the deliverer. Not that, they're hurting, but opportunity. We as Americans, we don't understand when it's hopeless for people that are outside and they're locked down for whatever reason, to have a tool that allows them to generate thousands of dollar bonuses. As we grow our team builder, in the States or even in these countries, so think about it. 7 people come on board. Actually, 5 people come on board. A person pays $500 to come on board. 5 people join at the $500. They earn a $500 leadership bonus. Now, I got to say, income disclosure and all that, you got to talk to your tax professional, blah, 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 blah. But, you don't work, you don't get paid. But 5 people join, and they recoup their investment. 3 and free, they're not paying a monthly fee. And so in their team builder, when people join, 7 people join, is $1,000 bonus. So when we were explaining this to people outside, in other countries, they're like, $1,000? Yes, every 7 through infinity is $1,000 bonus. Through infinity, whether you personally sponsor them or someone else sponsor them, and we share it with them, we'll help you build an organization that moves travel services. And Surge connects us. What are those travel services globally? Airline tickets, hotel accommodations, vacation packages, car rentals, any country, cruises, tours and activities, travel insurance, visas and passport services. These are the travel services that must get to the global market space. And who does it? When you have an opportunity to help the travel vendors get their travel services, this is business, right? This is just business, and then get paid. And when you have an opportunity to get paid to build organizations that move those travel services, it's not like you're selling, you're just sharing to friends and family, but that little bit adds up to a lot. And so the people in other countries understand that. And so this poor guy, we're gonna work with him, and he lives in Cancun, in some other city away from Cancun, but he lives there, renting an apartment. We're going to help him. But when these people at the convention was talking to us, you should have seen how they was looking at us. And I was like, wow, I hadn't felt that in a long time. People seeing hope through us, man. That is a beautiful responsibility when you can hold the key that unlocks someone's life. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Rich. I'd like to share a little testimony on the, let's just say, day-to-day life experiences. We had a neighbor move in across the street from us. We live in the city of Buffalo, and this gentleman and his wife, we wave at him, we wave at us. And one day he came up to the door and he said, "Hey, I hear you're a travel agent." I haven't said anything. I didn't tell, some of my neighbors know about it, and I've actually helped them get places and travel. But I never, this guy didn't even know. And so Axel and his wife, Leanna, they have a little baby, and they were going on their honeymoon. Well, a year ago they got engaged. In between they had the baby, and now they want to go on their honeymoon. And last week they just got back. They went to Hawaii. Well, they had already gotten a hotel room. And so they need to get their flight arrangements. And then when they went there, they wanted to go on. They needed to get a car rental, and they wanted to do an excursion. They wanted to go on one of those big rafts where they got 20, 30 people, and they're going to go exploring the caves of Hawaii. And they go in, and there's this, you've seen commercials where the beautiful blue light comes in through the crack in the wall and the roof of the cave, and they're in there and exploring it, and it was warm, and they're on a 5-hour tour, and the car was going to cost them an exorbitant amount of money, because in Hawaii, everybody knows that you pay $25 for a hamburger. Well, guess what? It was going on a cruise or going on something, and when you get there, it's not cheap either, or rent a car. Well, we booked it for them. They came over and told us when they were going. We did that. Went to the computer, went to our site. We have the booking site, remember? And we booked it. And they looked at it. We printed out a picture of it so they could see. And we got a reservation. And they used their credit card. I didn't have to use my credit. And they booked it. And they went. And now they went and they came back and they just had a great time. They're wonderful. Well, we saved them on the excursion. We saved them $300. On the car, we saved them $400. So Lynn and I are getting a check for $700.
Wow.
What did we do? That's just, I want people to understand. Now, we give the big picture, all the things we can do. And I mentioned a couple things that we are doing. But everybody's got opportunities like that with people in their circle or where they go and they know somebody. We've taken this program. We're about to launch our church. Well, our church has a food bank in Buffalo, New York, in a suburb called Cheektowaga. We have the largest food bank. Now, although we're not a big church, we have 700 families a week that our church provides food to. We actually have a building and volunteer staff, and we send out a truck. We actually support other food banks in the city because we have access to do those things. Well, it costs a lot of money to run that fund, that program. It's not a soup kitchen. It's actually a food bank. People now, we just build a building so that they can go in and do grocery shopping. Well, we've talked to our pastors, and we sat down with them, and the head of the programs for anything a church does, they took one look at it, and you met their senior pastor. We did a Zoom meeting, and we introduced the concept of funding our food bank by travel. And the church has decided that they want to do that. In fact, we have a new board coming up, so we're just in the process of timing with them. But the family that is going to head up the program in the church also want to have one of these programs for themselves. In other words, what they're going to become is owners, and the church is going to own the booking agents so that they can produce. And then, by the way, we also do mission trips for the church and all kinds of stuff. But people travel, and what happens is, I explain it to my pastor this way. You know, no one tells you when they're going to go on a trip. They tell you when they've been on a trip. He laughed. He says, that's true. Now, the reason is people sometimes feel guilty, like, if I go on a trip, I could have put that money in the offering plate. Well, we don't use offering plates anymore, but still, the point is that people pay online. Well, that's how people get paid here, too. Well, the thing is that our church needs more funds to run our mission. I call the word I use to describe it, Rick, as stewardship. And I was able to go to my church and share a program that's going to enhance the ability to raise funds for our food bank and also mission trips. And they are excited about that. We're putting that program together. And then Rick, or Dave and his wife are looking for a retirement fund. He's been a pastor for 25 years. You know, pastors don't usually have churches don't usually have very good retirement programs for pastors. They work hard, they give up great deals of their life to serve, and they certainly never complain about that, but they also deserve a good way of retiring or going forward in life or doing more things for more people. And we're going to get them to do that. We have the power to do that. And I don't know who's listening on the call today, but I want you to know that when you're on this call, you're going to be exposed to concepts and support that will help you to reach out, and you can single-handedly help yourself and go and travel yourself. Maybe you got a family emergency, you got to get to someplace. The holidays are coming up. Next spring, it'll be great again. We got a cruise. We actually have a cruise with a lot of people, the Optimize My Life listeners, many members of the Hope Collection. We're going to honor a guy who was Top Gun, who's been nominated for 5 times for the Nobel Peace Prize. And he's going to be honored on the Freedom at the Carnival cruise ship next spring. So we do things today. We've gotten excited about it. We really, I guess you could say, Rick, that this has infected our life.
Hey, why not? For Thanksgiving alone, they're looking at 55.4 million Americans traveling. That's a lot of people. And so when you're looking at all the folks who think about the airports during Thanksgiving, they're always crowded. In fact, airports are always crowded. And so this is nothing more than a tool. I like how you were saying, though, being able to use the tool. This is where people can put on their creative hats. You said, okay, your church has a food bank. And as a way to raise money, for the church, one of the links, one of the programs in Surge is the Vortex, which is a consumer booking portal where the consumer saves money. And so, the church says, okay, we're going to give this out, this free complimentary link out to our distribution. They have an email distribution, text distribution. We're going to send out the church's link for the Vortex. And we're going to make a simple statement. Take a look before you book. And here's a link that not only will save you money, but will support a cause you believe in. A person books through that link, the very same hotel, very same resort, and the link, no kidding, saves them up to 60% over the public price, the Expedia price. Expedia sets the price. 100% of what they save comes into the food bank, into their pot as a fundraiser that they don't have to manage. Now, anyone who has managed a fundraiser, you know it's not fun. It's a pain. You know, the man hours, let's do a bake sale. Or, Country World will say, the kids are on the corner with the sign. Let's get the kids from the street corners. People are getting hit. Kids are getting hit by cars. Get them off the car wash, all the man hours, bake sales, events, all the people hours put into it. This is give out the free link, especially as we approach the holiday season. People are going to book anyway. Now that money is not going away from you as an organization. This is a tool that allows you to harness it and redirect it back to you and back to your organization. Why make Expedia wealthy? Why make Priceline wealthy? We're all in the business of helping the travel vendors move product to market, move travel services to market. You couldn't, that's the interesting thing, Ron. You couldn't participate in this unless you had access. Surge 365 provides us access, whether it be through the online booking engine, whether it be through the travel agency where you got a $700 check coming in. And I love when you say how you and Linda take all the different travel trainings. The industry offers a free training while people are going back to college, right, and getting in debt, thousands of dollars in debt 2-4 years later, and they still can't get a job because there's people who are looking for jobs with the degree they just got. They can't find a job, and so they just join the train. Now they're in the hospitality and tourism industry immediately. Okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. No one says no. Anyhow, getting back to the church. So as a fundraiser, this money is coming in on a monthly basis, and it doesn't stop. They don't have to manage it. And people are making a consumer choice. I am going to book through this link because it's going to bring money back into my church to support my food bank. And it is so cool when people can make that kind of choice. You had mentioned earlier about the membership program and the savings. I was just looking it up. The savings through the Surge 365 membership program, $134 million. The total savings through the membership program. Back to you.
Rick, I'm moved by it because really it's just who I am, and I learned that a long time ago. I've been blessed with understanding that our job, my mission in life is to serve. And, there was a book that went around a few years ago by a pastor out on the West Coast, and it was called Being a Servant Leader. And Rick Warren was the author, and it's still popular. And churches would actually buy the books, and in their Bible studies and home groups and Sunday schools, they were teaching. By the way, that book was nothing more than another version of the Bible, because it talked about all the things that we're supposed to do to help each other and build each other and lift each other and find ways to reaching out to make the kingdom better. And I just believe what we're doing. It's transformed my life. I got a mission. In fact, I got a mission from God. And He said, "Get her done, son." And so I've been doing this. And so has our life changed? Absolutely. Has it gotten better? Absolutely. Do we have issues? Hey, guess what? We still have problems. We still have issues.
How has it gotten better, would you say? How has your life gotten better?
Number one, the people that in our life, we could just be sitting in our apartment. Linda and I, we're happy. We love each other. Made 50 years. She put up with me that long. We used to go. There's about 20 miles from or 30 miles from our house is a beach called Crystal Beach, and there was then Empire Beach. Friends of ours had a trailer there. So in the summers, that was like a little bit of a mini vacation. We'd go up for 2 or 3 days. hang out at the beach with them, and it was fun and with people. That was the extent of our travel. When we got started, as you mentioned, we reinforced one of our all-time long dreams, going back to before we were married, was to see, and we saw a commercial for Viking River Cruises, I don't know, it'd be 50 years ago, more than that. And all of a sudden that became on our mind, and for years, the Viking River Cruise Company spent thousands of dollars over time sending me brochures and flyers and packages and sending me, things that I just got one in the mail today. I got a company that has a picture of the gondolas, a couple of gondolas. I got a coupon to save 30% because I'm a travel agent. Through the travel agency, I get what they have. That just came in. I just got the mail a minute ago. Linda gave it to me. And so we got to do these things, and now we're doing so much more. But, Rick, I don't believe for the first 3 years that you and I and Brenda and Lynn and I worked together, I don't believe we ever met. You lived in Colorado Springs. I was in Buffalo, New York. What's the likelihood of me ever going to without a real reason other than after we met, wanting to see you, to go to Colorado Springs? Now you live in Charleston. Now I have a real reason to go there. They got cruise lines that go there. I'd like to see you too. But anyways, we never would have met. You never would. But you helped Linda and I establish and build the structure and the background and really the backbone.
And we hadn't even met in person. Yeah, that's the power of online.
But you, by the way, you introduced me and united me with other people that are like-minded, like-hearted, like-spirited, and we have been able to enrich not only our lives, but we've been able to bring lives and people to the organization and people that have their lives have been touched too. And I would tell you that it's given me more ways than just going to church on Sunday and listening to a message and coming home and saying, yeah, that's good, I want to do it. And we learned from it, but now we're able to take and share our lives with others and share the joy that's been given to us and spread it out. And I guess, right, I was told in the book I read, it says, put your light on the hill and don't hide it. Don't put it under a basket. Well, I remembered I was in church with Gideon speaking one Sunday, and the lights were just about out in the church because it was a big, huge church, and there were 20 people in it. And I was saying, and they asked me to speak. They said, well, give your Gideon message, which is 10 minutes, period. But they wanted me to be the preacher because they didn't have one. So I had to give a message. Well, on the back wall of the church was Ephesians, let your light so shine before all men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Ephesians, by the way. And until I read it that morning, and since then I didn't even remember that one. But I shared with those people, and I talked to them, and what I said to them is, you live in a community here. They're high-rises. This was in the city of Buffalo, in the downtown, with, apartment buildings and all that. There had to be thousands of people within 15, 20, 30 feet of that church front door. There had to be 1,000 people that were living in the different buildings. And I just asked the people there, when's the last time you wrote up an invitation? Doesn't cost you much. You got a copier. Write up a nice invitation and take them out to go door to door and invite people to come to church on Sunday. They thought it was a great idea. Guess what? That church is still running. I believe that there were blessings that came. That church grew. Not because I'm so great. God led me to a place that I could touch lives. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud to share it with you on the phone today, and I hope I instill in somebody else the same kind of passion to do the kinds of things. Now, Ron, Rick, you asked me, how has the travel business changed me? I never done anything like that. I mean, I spoke at churches, but I just tell them the story, a couple of scriptures, and ask them for some money. Now we have the way that we can make a means when we reach people to say how we can touch lives, go beyond the four walls of that church and take the message to the world. And that's what we're doing. And so I encourage everyone, again, this show is archived, and I hope people will take and bring other people to it. Again, this is not a promotion of Ron Clayton. This is not a promotion of the business. It's a promotion of a message that we can touch lives. That's what we're all about. Yes. We have changed their life.
It really is, and you, because you're mobile. I gave you a mobile business, and you definitely mobilized. Really, they're over in Europe eating all you can eat cream of wheat and chocolates, but it's mobile. Little did I know when my wife and I came on board in the industry in 2004, full time in 2005, that we were building something that would take us through 2008 when the economy went, kind of strange and weird, and COVID in 2020. That we were building residual income and continuous income that would take us through those unexpected periods and dips in our economy and strange occurrences. Who knows what the future faces, what we face in the future, what's going to be coming in the future. But I'm ready, Ron. You're ready. Others,
hey, Rick,
you're ready. Go ahead,
Rick. Y'all got a couple minutes left, so I'll make this real short. I enjoyed the conversation. Again, I'm blessed enough to be here in America, but being in my little community, and you start talking about our church just celebrated 186 years of history.
Wow.
But they still need money. So my point being, Ron, I think you call it hope for you. See, everybody don't understand. It's a blessing to be a blessing, but if everybody could bless themselves, then we wouldn't need each other. So God says, I'm calling you guys out. You're going to be a blessing in your going, Ron, Rick. You're going to be a blessing in your going and your coming. Why? Ron calls it intentionally. You have no hidden agendas. You have no hidden motives on what you do, and everybody's heard it like it's a cliche. In order for anybody to be blessed, they must, not maybe, be at the right place, at the right time, with the right people. I'm just ecstatic on how God is using you. And right now, the last one, being able to talk to people in 90-plus countries in 66 languages, and you're talking about blessing people on the other side of the world that you have never met before. So we're calling you guys out. Every man, every woman, every boy, and every girl, we're coming together to help make for a better world. Thank you.
Well, thank
Amen.
you so much, Country Boy, and we appreciate you. Because you are a light in the world up there in the mountains of Atlanta, and you have touched so many lives all through your life, and you continue to do that. And so we're just proud. Again, that's what this is. The Hope Collection is our foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit, just like your church. And we operate that, and we have a sister organization called the Golden Rule Society. Everybody knows the Golden Rule. Well, guess what, guys? What we're trying to do is just do that more. And I think we were kind of charged to do that. And when we do that, life is exciting. Life can be fun, even though there's challenges. I had a very, very good friend who, for many years, we were involved in some projects together, and we did things that were for the community. And he and I both loved the Lord, but both of us had a couple different views on things. And we would fight bitterly. And I lost him this week, and his heart gave out. But I got to tell you, in honor of Gary Helfenstein, and I say his name, I honor him today for all the work and he loved the Lord, and we honor him because he became involved. He actually was in the travel business for years before we had this program, and he had it, but it was back in the brick and mortar days, and the economy turned, and the way that airlines paid travel agencies back in 20 years ago. They stopped paying commissions, and so he lost all his business on airplane tickets. So I'm not trying to create a negative. It was actually positive because it created him and his wife, Carolyn, to become more forceful together, to be good in the world. And so I honor him for that. I was working.
We honor him.
I wanted to say that today. So
we honor Gary.
We want to thank you today for coming on the show. Tomorrow is Health and Wellness Day with Beth Wyman, and she's a certified nutritionist and dietitian, both. And she will be talking. My wife, Linda, will be hosting that show at noon. You're welcome to come on back and learn about living healthy. So, Rick, what countries did you say Serge just opened up in again? Central America?
Oh, yeah, Latin America. All of Latin America.
Oh, Latin America.
South America.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean,
I gotta let somebody know that, because they have direct connections, and this could be very exciting for them. So, and I don't think they know that yet. So this is going to be great.
Absolutely.
I'm glad we had the show today.
Yes.
Well,
likewise.
Folks, have a great day. Have a great week, and we'll see you all the time. Bye now.
Okay, bye.